Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome along to our weekly training webinar. Welcome along, guys. Hope you're having a fantastic week so far and you're ready for another dose of weekly training. How are you? I hope you're doing well. I hope your business is growing. I hope everything is going on track. So today, I'm going to be sharing with you 7 steps towards the business success, and these are going to be fundamentals, and we almost could do a separate training on each one of those, half an hour long, etc. But we're not going to do today. We're just going to go through them and identify a few tips for each maybe point on how to become better at each and how to move your business in a positive direction. So what are these 7 steps? So the first step is prospecting. Any type of business starts with prospecting. If you want to grow your business, whether it's your team or your customer base, you need to start prospecting. You need to start a creative way of finding new people to either taking a look at your products or taking a look at your business opportunity. So we obviously have the traditional, going out, on a street, etc., and talking to people, when you're out and about on your daily basis, just chatting up, people who are serving you in town or whatever, just literally trying to make a conversation with every single person that you bump into. And if possible, finding a way to move the conversation into them, taking a look at what you've got to offer, etc. So that's obviously the main sort of old school way of bringing people into the business. The second way is, of course, now the social media. If you are one of those people who is introverted, charisma bypassed, personality challenged, and all of that, and you are one of those people who are saying, look, I can't speak to people on the street, I can't speak to people in the shop. This is just terrifies me, to death, and I'm gonna die if I speak to a stranger, stranger danger, etc. Then you have no excuse with online, because when you're doing it online, you don't need to, look at the person. It's not face to face. It's via messaging, etc. So again, there's a million ways of doing it, but of course, probably the main one is Facebook. And again, the question is, how many people on a daily basis are you contacting on social media? Same how you would, start a conversation with somebody on a street or in a shop or in a bus or whatever. Same way, you can be starting conversations every single day online. Just complete strangers. You can just say, hey, hi, I like your picture or whatever, and find a way to start a conversation with a person, find out what do they do for a living, and then eventually find out if they would be open, for an extra source of income or for trying your products or whatever it is, right? So again, it's a huge way how you can, again, literally recruit people and find customers in any corner of the earth, at any time of the day, etc. So again, the point here with prospecting is how many people are you contacting face to face on a daily basis? How many people are you contacting on social media on a daily basis? Not that I've done 3 last month. If you do that, that means your business is closed. If you had a traditional brick and mortar business, a shop or whatever, you'd have to open it for business in the morning, isn't it? Otherwise, your business is shut, it's closed. So same way, if you have a home-based business and you're not prospecting, that means if you haven't spoke to anybody today about your product or your business, that means your business was closed today. Is it going to be open for business tomorrow? Is it going to be open for business the day after? If you're not talking to people for a week, that means your business was shut for a week. If you had a traditional business and you were hiring, premises on a high street, and you had your business shut for a week, how long do you think you would keep going in that business before you go out of business? Because you wouldn't be able to pay the rent. Same way in your home-based business, even though you don't have to pay, for premises on a high street, etc. You have to be asking yourself a question: was my business open today? Or was I shut? Is tomorrow, am I going to be open for business or not? And the first sign of opening your business is obviously talking to people, is approaching people, except contacting me in whatever way. And the third way is obviously referrals. So again, people that you contact, etc., are you asking them to recommend somebody? And especially in network marketing, the easiest way is that we don't even ask for, if somebody becomes a business partner, you don't go, hey, can you recommend me some other people who would join my team? Instead, you go, hey, I want to help you to build your team now. So let's get everybody, in your home or in a next, business opportunity meeting or whatever, and let's, start building your team. So who do you know who might be interested? But if you have a customer who's buying regular products from you, but they have enjoyed the business and they have no interest in enjoying your business, why not ask them? Do you know anybody else who would, love to try these products, etc., who would love to save money on these high quality products, etc., and see what again, if you don't ask, you're never going to get it. So to start the habit of, approaching people on your day when you're going around on your daily basis, approaching people on social media and asking for referrals. If you don't ask, you will never receive it. So that's number one. Number two is original contact. So how is your original contact? How is your first impression? They say you never get the second chance to give the first impression. So do you actually know what to say? If you sat in on a bus next to somebody who looks super sharp, who looks like that person would be ideal for your business, would you know what to say? Would you know how to start the conversation? If you on social media and if you're on Facebook and you notice somebody who looks really, really good, or whatever, great, and they're sharing all the stuff that is positive, etc., and you're thinking, wow, this person would be really, really good. Do you know what to say to them? Do you know what message to send to them? So again, work on your original conversation, work on your original contact. How are you going to talk to these people? And it doesn't have to be something very complicated. For me personally, I always, use the rule of thumb of piquing people's interest. Not just having this what I call verbal diarrhea, where you just literally throw up, on this person with all your, presentation and all the information, but instead just saying few things to pique their interest, to where they go, that sounds interesting. Can you tell me more about it? How does that work? That's the sort of effect that I'm always trying to achieve, whether I'm talking to a person face to face or on social media. I wouldn't go, hey, this is my business, there's the link, join my business now, blah, blah, blah. Instead, I'd message something like, hey, if I'm, having a conversation with a person and I ask them what do they do for a living, and they told me, and then they ask me, what do you do for a living? I might say something like, I help people to start their own part-time business or full-time business from home and earn an extra income or replace their current income so they can spend more time with their family, etc. I haven't really told them anything, but now hopefully I said enough to raise their curiosity, to pique their interest, to where they go, well, that sounds interesting. How does it work? What sort of business? How I want them to ask for information instead of me pushing the information onto them. So that's number two, original contact. The number three is qualification. If you want to have a successful business, you have to find a way to successfully qualify people, right? So number one, when we talk about qualification, is this the right person for my business? Is that the right person? Is this person the right type of person for my business? Number two then is, what are their true needs? Identifying their needs. And the only way you can qualify a person is, of course, by asking questions. So do they need an extra income? Do they need, do they have time and willingness and passion to do something in addition to what they're doing right now? So qualifying a person is really, really important. And you do that by basically having a conversation and asking. We as business people, very often we're so passionate about our products, we're so passionate about business opportunity that we just want to talk and explain everything, etc. But before we get into that, we need to learn how to ask first. Ask the right questions and see, what does this person want from life? What are they seeking? What are their goals? What are their dreams and ambitions, etc.? And once we get that information, then we can see if, so again, the questions like, what do you do for a living? It's great by finding out, their profession and how much time they spend doing that. Other questions like, what do you like to do on your free time? Again, it's really, really good way of finding out what are their passions, because most people on their free time, they do the stuff that they're actually passionate about, and they go to work to pay their bills. So if you find out that somebody's passion is traveling the world, then you know that if your business can help them to travel the world more and work less, then potentially they might be interested in your business, etc. So you get the sense. So again, finding out more about that person, what are their dreams, what are their goals, what are they seeking, etc. So that's qualification. Number four then is presentation. So how is your presentation? When was the last time you delivered a full presentation of your product or of your business to our potential prospect? Some of us, we need to brush up once in a while, just to review the presentation, brush up on our presentation skills, etc. Eye contact, the way we talk, etc., the way we explain things, etc., etc., etc. And really what presentation is all about is preparation for close. Because when you're presenting to somebody, the idea is that by the end of that presentation, the person is going to make a decision to either invest in your product or to join your business. So really what the whole presentation should be designed to do is not to just provide dry information, but to help the person to make the decision to act on what you're presenting, to either purchase the product or to join your business. So does your presentation do that? Or is your presentation just endless and endless and endless amount of you talking, and talking that person to death? So are you sensitive enough to notice when is the person ready to make that decision, and when are they ready to either purchase the product or join your business, etc. Okay, the number 5 is handling objections. A lot of people, big portion of people that you will be presenting your product or your business, they will have questions, right? They will bring up some objections or areas of concern, or they will go, well, what about that? Oh, I don't think I could do that because of this, etc. So they will throw some stuff at you. So again, you need to learn which are the most frequent objections. Now, if you're a brand new person just started in the business, you might ask your sponsor, you might ask your mentor and go, hey, what sort of objections can I expect when I do the presentation? What might people throw at me? What sort of questions they might ask that I need to know in advance? But then as you spend time presenting the business, etc., you will start building up your own arsenal of objections. So basically, if a question comes up once, then you can ignore it. You might just be one, just in a blue moon. But if the same question comes up twice, 3 times, 4 times, that's it. You need to find an answer for this objection, because clearly it's going to keep coming up with different people when you present the business. And then ideally, you want to build that into your presentation so it doesn't even come up. So as you're presenting, you cover that objection already in the presentation, so that at the end of the presentation, they don't have any objections or any questions. A good sign of a presentation is if you present the business to somebody, and by the end of the presentation, you go, so do you have any questions? Is there anything unclear? And they go, no, everything is fine. You answered everything that I needed to know. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to join. I'm ready to get started. That was a quality presentation. So always, do it consciously. When people are asking you questions, maybe make a note of them. Finish the presentation and you go, hey, what do you like the best? And you start the conversation towards closing and towards getting them to make a decision. As soon as they start throwing any objections, make a note of them. I don't have any money, or I don't have any time, or I don't know if I would be good at this, or I've never done anything like this before. And start writing down these and thinking, not at that time, maybe, when you go home, think of all the answers, that you could come up for each of those objections. So you prepare so that the next time when somebody asks that, you go, answer for that. I have an answer for that. I have an answer for that, etc. So you become a real pro. The number 6 is closing the sale, or closing the decision-making process, if you like. And basically, closing sometimes sounds like a very loaded word, etc. But really, what closing is all about is just helping the person to make a decision, today, not in a week, not in a month, not I'll think about it, not let me get back to you, etc. But right now, yes or no. And you really want yes or no's. I know when I first started, I would be very, very, very inclined and very willing to take a maybe instead of a no. It sort of stroked my ego, and it made me feel better if a person said, yeah, I'll think about it, than if they went, no, I'm not interested. Because I would think, oh, they were going to come back and join my business. Oh, they're going to come back and buy my product. But guess what? The more you do this, the more you're going to realize that nobody's ever going to come back to you. Very, very rarely. Most people, they either going to buy on the day, or they're going to join the business on the day, or they're never going to do it. So you really want to make sure that you get the right answer from the person there and then. It's better to get a no from the person and then move on, than have this sort of conscious baggage dragging behind you, thinking, oh, I've got so many people who are in the pipeline. They're just going to be joining maybe next month, maybe next year. So it's just going to drain you emotionally and physically. So instead, I'd rather them say, hey, no, not right now for me, no problem, I can move on and find the person who is the right candidate for my business, who is ready to join. Something that, again, you want to develop and build into your presentation process, etc. And then finally, number 7 is referrals. So once you finished your presentation, if it was the product presentation and a person bought, then start learning how to ask for referrals. And you might just start with one, just one referral. Could you think of one person who would also like to use these types of products, or who uses these types of products and also would like to save money on them or get better quality, etc. Or if they joined your business, great. Let's sit down and think of at least one person who you think would definitely like to join your business, interested in becoming part of your team, etc. And then when you get really, really good at getting one every single time you do a presentation, then start getting 2. Once you get really, really good at getting 2 at each presentation, then let's get 3 and start building it up. That at the end of every presentation, you go, okay, let's think of at least 3 people who would be really, really interested in joining your team, because I want you to start building your business right away. I want you to start, going on this journey right away. So let's think of a couple of people right away and learn how to get referrals from people. Even if the person, let's say you did a fantastic presentation, and that's, again, you're going to get that a lot, especially at the beginning. When you do a presentation, a person goes, I'm not going to join, but you done a really good presentation. You did a fantastic presentation. So then you can say, hey, since I've done such a great presentation, etc., this is not for you, but would you mind thinking of at least one person who might be interested in earning an extra income from all the people that you know? Could you recommend me that person? He said, and again, start asking for referrals, because that, again, can build your customer base, that can build your prospect base, etc. And again, if you ask, again, not every time you're going to get it, but at least sometimes you will get it. If you don't ask, you will never get it. I can promise you that. So that's really the 7 steps towards success in business. I hope you got value from that. I hope you picked up some useful tips or ideas from that. If you have, feel free to share this webinar with other people as well. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week. And as always, I'll see you at the top.